Hey everyone, sorry for the wait. But for all those who are new, here's the update. So far my trainer has 6 badges and 11 Pokemon, and in this story, it's a time for the end of the Kanto journey. After traveling on Lapras over the sea, Omega arrives on Cinnabar Island. But after knowing there is no gym on Cinnabar Island, Omega decided to head to the Cinnabar Island lab to give them the old Amber. Once that was done, Omega decided to rest the night at the Big Riddle Inn. After figuring out the riddles, Omega arrived on Cinnabar Island's gym against Blaine. The battle begins with Omega's Haunter against Blaine's Ninetales. However, when Haunter did a Shadow Ball against Ninetales' Fire Spin, it caused an explosion, causing both Pokemon to knock each other out. After recalling their Pokemon, Blaine called out his Rhydon. Before Omega calls out one of his Pokemon, Omega's Rhyhorn let himself out of his Pokeball. It signals to Omega that he wants to defeat Blaine's Rhydon, and after Omega sees his Rhyhorn is really confident, allows him to do so. The battle lasts quite a bit because both Pokemon are kinda tanky. However, in the end, Blaine's Rhydon came out the victor. Omega's last Pokemon is his Charizard. Blaine thought it was stupid having a fire type bursting against a ground type. Unknowing to Blaine how much battle experience his Charizard had been through in the journey, defeated Blaine's Rhydon with a powerful Flamethrower. Blaine was surprised about how strong his Charizard is, decided to bring out his powerful Pokemon, Magmar. The battle lasts quite a bit, since they're both using their powerful Pokemon. However, surprisingly, both Pokemon fainted at the end, causing the battle in a draw. Blaine was surprised about the battle, however, it was not enough to receive his badge from him. Omega headed back to the Pokemon Center to heal his team. While they was there, Omega and his team were eating at the Pokemon Center. Omega notices that his Rhyhorn wasn't eating. He then told his team there's still enough time to enter the Indigo League, that they can spend a few more days training. This spirited the whole team up, especially Rhyhorn, who started eating again. Omega and his team spent the next 3 days training for the next match against Blaine. But on the second day of training, a huge explosion was coming from the north. Omega and his team arrived only to see that the Pokemon lab was on fire. Omega called out his Lapras to put out the fire with a water gun attack. While that was happening, a black helicopter with a Team Rocket logo came out from behind of the lab. Omega looks at the window of the helicopter to see who was flying it, only none other than Cassidy and Biff.
I just told you it's Butch, weren't you listening to my intro?
While Butch was arguing about his name, Omega heard a wild Pokemon crying out. After the helicopter flies up a bit higher, he sees a living, breathing Aerodactyl. Without hesitation, Omega called out his Charizard and rescued the Aerodactyl. After that, both Aerodactyl and Charizard took out the helicopter, blasting off the Team Rocket grunts.
We're blasting off just like those dopes!
Prepare for trouble, Mitch, cause here it comes!
It's Butch!
Once the fire was put out, the professors thanked Omega for saving the lab and the Aerodactyl from the evil Team Rocket. But before Omega leaves, the Aerodactyl rubs on him, symbolizing that he was grateful for rescuing him. While he was rubbing on Omega, he dropped the Pokeball, and without hesitation, the Aerodactyl touched the Pokeball, and with that, Omega catched an Aerodactyl. Omega and the professors were shocked about Aerodactyl being captured so easily. But before Omega gives the Aerodactyl back to them, the lead professor stepped forward and suggested to Omega that he should keep the Aerodactyl, since he's the one who brought the old Amber to them. But as soon as Omega was about to speak, the Pokeball with the Aerodactyl inside disappeared. Omega, knowing where the Pokeball is, ran back to the Pokemon Center and called Professor Oak. Before Omega explained to Oak, he told Omega that it was the first time to catch a living fossil Pokemon, and he would like to do some tests on the Aerodactyl. But before Omega said a single word, Oak said thanks and ended the call. Omega was shocked about what just happened and decided to just call it a night. Next morning on the third day, Omega was training with his team, and then tomorrow, he was ready to battle against Blaine. The next morning, Omega arrived at Blaine's gym. Just like the first battle, Blaine used his Ninetales and Omega used Haunter. But this time, Omega's Haunter had a much easier time against Blaine's Ninetales, as he's much stronger this time around. The battle ends with Omega's Haunter knocking out Blaine's Ninetales with a Shadow Punch. This will give Omega the first win. Soon enough, Blaine called his Rhydon, and Omega swapped out his Haunter for Rhyhorn. These two started to battle it out. While Rhyhorn is doing much better than last time, it was still no match against its superior evolution. Omega the Rhyhorn gets beaten down pretty badly, and then asked Omega to call back his Pokemon. Basically, it cannot defeat its superior evolution. Omega tries to call back his Rhyhorn, however Rhyhorn refused to go back to his Pokeball as it wants to keep going. After trying to get up, Rhyhorn started to glow white, and Omega's Rhyhorn becomes Rhydon. With the extra power boost, Omega's Rhydon was able to beat Blaine's Rhydon, but he had a lot of trouble doing that. Once Blaine called out his Magmar, Omega called back his Rhydon and called out his Charizard. Omega's Charizard was doing much better than before against Blaine's Magmar. It pulled out some powerful slash attacks, however this time, Blaine's Magmar was able to become out the victor. Omega called back his Charizard and called out his Haunter. Haunter did much better than Charizard, landing a few Nightshades and Shadow Balls. However, it was defeated by Blaine's Magmar. The only Pokemon that can Omega use now is Rhydon. However, with the type advantages to new moves, was able to beat Blaine's Magmar. With that, Omega receives the 7th badge. Once Omega healed his team, and decided to battle against the strongest gym of all, the Viridian Gym. But instead of riding on Lapras, Omega called out his Charizard and asked him if he can fly him over there. Charizard was confused. He knows he's upset about losing to Magmar, so Omega wanted to cheer him up by flying him over to the next gym. Charizard smiled and nodded, and after getting comfortable riding on Charizard's back, Omega's Charizard flied him all the way to Viridian City. And after staying there for the night, Omega challenged the Viridian City Gym. But instead of Giovanni controlling his own gym, instead he left the gym to some random lackey. The random lackey used Giovanni's Rhydon, Kingler, and Machamp. However, thanks to the extra training, Omega's Jolteon defeated Kingler, Charizard defeated Machamp, and Omega's Rhydon defeated the gym's Rhydon. With those 3 taken out, Omega received the 8th and final badge. Now he has all 8 badges, he heads his way back to Pallet Town. But before going to his family, Omega went to Professor Oak's lab to update about the other trainers. Knows that Gary Oak has 9 badges, and while Ash Ketchum has 7. Oak then decides to tell Omega to go back home with his family, and they will call him that once the other trainers have come back from their journey. 5 days have passed, and Oak called Omega to come to his laboratory. Omega arrived and met with Ash Ketchum and Gary Oak. Professor Oak congratulated 3 Pokemon trainers who collected enough gym badges to enter the Indigo Plateau from 2 months from now. While Ash and Gary are arguing each other, Omega talks with Brock and Misty. Omega catches up with Brock and gets to know that the gym is safe with his father's hand. Also, he's traveled along with Ash to become a Pokemon breeder. And after introducing by Misty, Oak was surprised about their seeing and catching of Pokemon. Ash has seen more Pokemon than Gary, but Gary Oak has catching more Pokemon than Ash. But Omega has seen the equal number of Pokemon that Ash has seen, as well as catching more Pokemon than Ash. While walking around the Pokemon lab and chatting, as well as getting interrupted by a group of Team Rocket members, Ash, Omega, and Gary went their own separate ways. Omega went home and told his family that he's going to train for 2 months for ready for the Indigo Plateau. Omega's family agreed and asked him to take care during his training. The next morning, Omega went back into the lab and switched out his team ready for the first 2 weeks of training. That way his team get the same experience. So he left Jolteon and Lapras at Oak's lab and took Nidoking and Magikarp. For the first 2 weeks, he used Rhydon and Nidoking to battle each other to improve their skills. Since they're both tanky Pokemon, they're perfect for sparring for each other. Hitmonchan is improving his punches by smashing some boulders, and Haunter and Charizard are both fighting each other. Meanwhile, Omega trains his Magikarp. On the first half week of training, Omega's Magikarp evolved into a Gyarados. Omega then heads back to Oak's lab to switch out his team again. This time he leaves Gyarados, as well as Nidoking and Machamp, and takes Horsey, Persian, and Jolteon. For the first 2 weeks, Omega's Persian and Jolteon battle each other to improve their speed. For Omega, he trains his Horsey with his Haunter to improve his speed in the water, while Omega's Charizard still trains his Fire attack, until he masters a new attack known as Fire Blast. On the 3rd week, Omega switch out Horsey and Haunter, and add Victreebel and Aerodactyl. Jolteon and Persian improve their speed, while Victreebel and Rhydon battle each other. Omega decided to train and watch his Charizard and Aerodactyl to improve their skills in flying. Only 2 weeks left before the Indigo Plateau. Omega tells his family that he's going to go training one more week and then headed the other week to go to the Indigo Plateau. Omega's with his family luck and they'll be watching him on TV. Omega arrives at the gates of Professor Oak's laboratory, so he can switch out his Pokemon before leaving. By the outskirts of the gate, he sees another Pokemon trainer. Omega introduced himself, and the trainer introduced himself as Melissa. Omega asked Melissa what he was doing here. She came over to ask Professor Oak a question about how to evolve a Graveler. Omega knew how to evolve a Graveler, but decided to take her to Professor Oak and tell him himself. Once Professor Oak told Melissa how to evolve her Graveler, Melissa asked Omega nicely if he can help her evolve her Graveler. Once he said yes, he decides to use his Haunter. That way, his Haunter will evolve as well. Cassie agrees with the terms, as long as Omega returns her Golem back. Professor Oak takes the trainers to a trading machine he has in his lab. Once Omega switches Victory Bell for his Haunter, both Omega and Cassie switch out their Pokemon. Once they called their Pokemon out, Graveler evolved into Golem, and Haunter evolved into Gengar. Satisfied with the switch, they both switched their respectable Pokemon back to each other. Now the trade was over, both trainers went their separate ways to the Indigo Plateau. After 1 week of training, and celebration of the Indigo Plateau, Omega signed up for the Indigo Plateau against the 200 other trainers, and the field he will be battling is the Water Field, and his opponent is the trainer named Wesley on the 4th match. But before Omega leaves, he meets with Ash, Brock and Missy again. Once Ash signed up for the Indigo Plateau, Omega decides to walk with Ash and his friends. When Omega tells him he will be battling the Water Field, Ash, Brock and Missy decide to watch Omega's battle, since Ash's battle is after his. While Omega walking around with Ash, Brock and Misty, they end up bumping up into Gary, who's going to be battling on the ice field. Gary then teased Omega and Ash about losing the first battle against the trainers. However, Omega just ignored Gary and just walked away. However, decided to switch 2 of his Pokemon ready for the water field. After using his Pokedex, he switched Rhydon for Gyarados and Aerodactyl for Horsey. After time went by, Omega watched Ash's Pokemon battle. And just like in the anime, he won only using his Kingler. Now with that out of the way, Omega's first battle in the water field was about to begin. Wesley has a trio of Wartortle, Venonat, and Starmie. While Omega started with Horsey, and just like Ash, it defeated Wartortle and then evolved into Seadra. With Seadra's extra power, Wesley, Venonat, and Starmie were defeated by a single Pokemon. Days went by, and Omega won his battle against Grass, Rock, and Ice Field. However, Gary lost his 4th match against Melissa. The same Melissa who helped Omega evolve his Haunter into Gengar. Now that Omega's in the top 16, and his first opponent is none other than Melissa. However, we only know that Melissa has Golem. However, Omega did train all his Pokemon well, so I have to say Golem was defeated by Victory Bell, and Omega passed through into the top 8. Omega's next battle is a full 6-on-6 battle, so Omega's gonna have the best team he can possibly can. So we switch out his Machamp for Gyarados, and now he has a steady team of a good strong Pokemon, was able to defeat the top 8 and pass with ease, but his next opponent is Assunta. Now, all we know about Assunta is that she has 3 Pokemon, a Rhyhorn, a Venonat, and an Ivysaur. She also might have a Spearow or a Tentacool. The last Pokemon in her team, I don't know, but since this is my video and my channel, my trainer goes straight to the finals. Now before Omega enters the finals, he switched his team around, ready for the final battle in the finals. Now this final opponent Omega's facing in the Indigo League has very powerful Pokemon. He had an Onix, Executor, Alakazam, Machamp, Arcanine, and Dragonite. At the end, only each trainer had 1 Pokemon left. Omega called out his Charizard, and the opponents called out Dragonite. The 2 Pokemon clash with Dragonite's Dragon Rage and Charizard's Flamethrower. But in the end, one Fire Blast at Dragonite was able to win the battle, making Omega the Pokemon champion. So this is the end of part 2 of my Pokemon trainer anime journey. And I had lots of fun trying to figure out how to make my Pokemon have their own story. But in the next story, my trainer will be going to the Orange Islands. But once that's done, we're going to the Johto region. Now before I end this video, I'm going to tell you all what my trainer's Pokemon's new moves are. So without further ado, let's get started. So of course we're going to go with Charizard, who's forgotten Fire Spin and learned Fire Blast. As for Rhyhorn, who evolved into Rhydon, his new moves are Rock Blast, Horn Drill, Earthquake, and Takedown. Horsey only learns Water Gun, Bubble, Leer, and Smoke Screen. But when it evolves into Seadra, it knows Dragon Breath, Twister, Hydro Pump, and Agility. Aerodactyl moves are HM Power, Scary Face, Takedown, and Hyper Beam. When Magikarp evolves into Gyarados, his new moves are Hydro Pump, Hyper Beam, Dragon Dance, and Dragon Breath. As for Gengar, it still knows the same moves. And with that, that is it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This is Omega Emperor. Stay awesome.